Have you ever looked at somebody and thought, I would do literally anything to be with you? I mean, I've been very desperate for multiple men and I'm embarrassed about it. Well, today we're going to be looking at some other desperate people and the desperation is real. Also, if you're new, make sure to subscribe.
What is the most desperate thing you've ever done for somebody?
Okay, I can't believe I'm coming on TikTok to say this because I don't think that I can actually get more desperate. Like this, if there was a definition of desperate, my name would actually be in the dictionary.
I feel like all of our names would be, trust me, some of the things I've done. I mean, some boys have been really desperate to get with me. It's kind of iconic, isn't it? Maybe I am that beautiful. I mean, there's some men who've been chasing me for a few years.
So basically, I was feeling a boy and I was like, what am I going to do for him? I need to make him like me back. This was me being stupid. So I was like, cool, let me take him shopping.
Okay, so if you're not from the UK, feeling basically means, you know, she has a bit of a crush on him. You know, she really wants to be with him. I feel like I might have to translate part of this TikTok.
Bearing in mind, we've been speaking for 2 weeks, like literally 2 weeks. This man had never done shit for me in my life. He probably wouldn't even buy me a Happy Meal. Anyway, I'm actually scared to say it. Like, I don't even want to say it out loud because I'm actually so ashamed of myself.
Do you want to know? Sometimes you just got to spit stuff out. It's embarrassing. Spit it out and you can put it under the cover and we can all move on.
I don't know what possessed me to think I was a rich gal. But anyway, I'm like, yeah, whatever you want, buy. We went Shepherd's Bush, Westfield. Every shop we go in, yeah, you want that, buy it. Louis Vuitton, buy it. Buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it.
Wait, I just realised this is her buying stuff for him. So she's spending her money on him. Sweetheart, how much have you got in your bank account? You're spending a lot of money on him.
I spent £2,000.
2 grand.
On a boy that didn't even rate me and then blocked me 3 days later.
Oh my god, so he didn't even rate you. By the way, rate means like her back, you know, he didn't want to be with her. So you're telling me you were speaking to this boy for like a few weeks or a few months, you know, you really fancied him, you took him out shopping, bought in £2,000 worth of stuff, and then a few days later he blocked you and completely cut you off. First of all, that's horrible. Like, he literally used you for your money. Probably money you could have spent well in yourself. And then, you know, he just completely ghosted and blocked you. I mean, I wouldn't say you're desperate, I'd say you're definitely unlucky.
I've been waiting for this question for so long, you have no idea. It literally stopped me in the middle of what I'm doing. I'm just gonna have a suit.
I've got a question if you got clothes on, because by the sounds of it, you're completely naked. I swear I heard something smack together whenever you sat in that seat, and I bet it was your butt cheeks.
It was August 2019. I had just permanently moved to Honolulu. I'm out casually minding my business. I walk into a bar and I see the most beautiful man ever, and I'm like, oh my god, like, I have to find any reason to talk to this person. So I do. I'm like, just see him, like, hey, you're alone, like, why don't you come join me for a drink? We hit it off, things go really well. He's like, oh, I'm actually here from Australia. I'm like, oh, I've never been, but I've always wanted to go. And that's true, I always wanted to go.
I feel like we've all done that, you know, we say something and we completely lie about it. I mean, Australian accents are so sexy, like, I love a good Australian accent. My best friend Marina's got an Australian accent and it's honestly fab.
And we have the most amazing next few days, like, heaps of fun. At the end of his trip, he's like, how about you come see me? And I always tell people I'll come see them, but I never do it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. 2 weeks later, I'm on a plane and I'm in Melbourne and I'm visiting this guy.
You've literally known him for 3 weeks and you've already flown there to see him. You need to be careful because he might pull a Jeffrey Dahmer, like he might cut you up and eat you for dinner.
So I go home, 2 weeks later, I'm missing him. I get on a plane and I don't tell him I'm coming, but I go anyway.
Oh, so you're flying there without him knowing. I've got a feeling you're gonna walk into the apartment and he's gonna have his arms around another man.
He's like super busy, like I should have asked ahead of time. He did not get to see me, but I knew he was from New Zealand already, so I booked a flight to New Zealand since he was busy, and I went to see his home country.
So basically this man flew to Australia, flew back, and then flew back to Australia without telling the man, and then the man was working, so he flew to New Zealand. How much money have you got? Like, how are you able to fly this much? I want your money. And keep in mind, he's doing this for a man.
You know, I had planned on going back to see him again, but I had a friend in the Navy, he was coming into town, so I wasn't going to be able to make this, like, third trip to go see this guy. So I wrote him a book. Literally, I sat down and I did all these graphics and I wrote him a love story.
Oh my god, let me have a look at this. Cyprus North Tory. I don't know if I said that right. Kelsey and Kira. It's got 5 5-star reviews to be fair, so fair play. Look at you, JK Rowling.
But I never told him about it. And I'm always working things in the background, so I had landed a job interview in Sydney, which I was like, at least I'll be in Australia, even if it's not Melbourne. So I fly to Sydney. And he's like, oh, I had planned on moving to Sydney. Like, oh, if you get this job here, we can move in together. And I was like, perfect.
Everything seems to be going very well. However, it seems a bit too well. Like, it's going a bit too good. Sadly, Karma's got to do her thing and she's going to completely ruin your life.
That basically brings us to December of 2019. And we kind of know the way the rest of the world went because by the time I was ready to get hired in this role, COVID-19 happened.
Yup.
And I never heard from him again. But now I live in Australia.
Wait, so you never heard from him ever again? And you literally live in Australia? Oh my god, COVID messed up your relationship and then like he aired you. I mean, he could be watching this video right now, so if this is you, you better go and message him. That was like such an amazing love story. Like that was literally to be a Disney movie, you know, you fly all over the country to see each other. And then of course COVID f***ed up your plans. And then he bloody aired you.
I actually have 2 desperate things I did for the same guy because I did not learn my lesson. April 2019, I meet a guy and we start dating and I really like him. September 2019, it's his birthday and I see this as a great chance to impress him and get him a gift. He's a huge Inter Milan fan, so I get 2 tickets for he and I to go watch a game at the Stadio San Siro. In order to try and impress him, I paid for seats down in the lower tier, and this was Inter Lazio, and trust me, these tickets did not come cheap.
I don't even want to think about how expensive them tickets were. I've seen how expensive certain tickets are for like concerts and games. I mean, you seem like a very good girlfriend. Look at you, literally paying loads of money for these tickets. However, where does the desperation come in?
When I was booking the tickets, a colleague of mine told me she used to work at Inter, and she could pull some strings to get us a visit to the training ground if we wanted. In December 2019, so I asked him and of course he accepted, but the week before Inter cancelled the visit, so I called him to let him know I'm sorry it's off, and then after that I just didn't hear from him. He ghosted me.
Oh my god, right, so basically you were meant to take him there and then your plans got cancelled so he ghosted you. That's not desperation, like that's literally you trying to be a good girlfriend, you're trying to impress your boyfriend. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were dating, weren't they? Like they were very close to dating. Now that's a crap boyfriend. Like if plans don't go through, well that's fine, you can do something else. You literally spent like hundreds of pounds in tickets and he just ghosted you in the end. What a crap man.
But then in February 2020, the day is back on. Inter have rescheduled it. I see this as a great opportunity to get him interested in me again.
Oh my god, no, you should have like not ignored the first red flag. If he airs you because you can't satisfy his needs, that sounded a bit weird, but you know what I mean, you know, like he aired you because of an issue which had nothing to do with you, and now you're going back.
So I reach out and I'm like, the day's been rescheduled at the training ground, you still want to go? And of course he says yes. Here we are at the training ground. We've just finished watching the players do their activities and then we got a meet and greet with everybody.
So yep, he got what he wanted in the end and I bet he's gonna air you again. It's quite crazy how people literally use you for like their own like satisfaction, isn't it? It's a bit snaky.
Literally 1 week after this, the whole of Italy went into lockdown for COVID. And then he went back to Tuscany, I stayed in Milan, and I didn't see him again until summer 2020. And then guess what? It was September 2020 and his birthday had rolled back around again.
And don't tell me you've done the exact same thing. I mean, COVID ruined the last relationship. Hopefully COVID doesn't ruin this one. Or maybe the man will. Maybe he'll be a bit of a dickhead.
So he asked me if I'd like to go out for drinks with him. I do. We're at a rooftop bar together. We're getting pretty drunk and we make plans for the next night to stay in a hotel together to celebrate his actual birthday night. The night carries on. We get absolutely trashed. I am particularly wasted. I've been doing shots. At the end of the night, he brings me back here to my apartment. When the lift door opens, I'm so wasted that I fall out of the lift, flat on my face on the floor.
Oh my god, watch out. He's meant to be breaking your back. You're not meant to be breaking your bloody face.
He picks me up, puts me in bed and goes home. The next morning, I wake up with a swollen, busted nose, and he sends me a text to ask if I'm all right, and do I still want to stay in the hotel with him? And of course, I'm like, yeah, I want to stay in the hotel with you, even though I felt absolutely awful.
I mean, you literally look like you broke your nose, like your nose looks like a grape. You should definitely go to hospital and try to get that checked out. I mean, that's the thing with alcohol, like you can literally lose consciousness of like your senses. I mean, it's really easy to get taken advantage of, literally injured, or like break your nose like she did.
So we check in at the hotel and then we go out for dinner, and I'm like, it's your birthday, I'll get the dinner, and he agrees to let me pay for the whole dinner, even though it's customary in Italy for the birthday person to pay for the dinner. Then we spend the night in the hotel, we go to check out the next morning.
And I think I know what's gonna happen. He's gonna run off and you're gonna be blocked. So he probably used you for your body, your money, and he also left you with a broken nose.
And again, I offer to pay for the hotel and he accepts, and I do, in total. Then after we check out that next morning, that is the last time I have ever heard from him or ever seen him. I never saw him again. He never got back in contact. He's disappeared. Shame on me for carrying this on and spending all this money, but shame on him for accepting the dinner and the hotel stay, knowing he was going to ghost me straight after. That's pretty spineless in my opinion.
Exactly, it's sneaky. It's like he had a motive, he knew exactly what he was doing. He never had any true intention of probably staying with you. He probably wanted the free stuff, the free food, the free hotel room, your body. It's just sad, isn't it? It's like people do that, and it's not just men, it's also women. You know, I don't like it. That's why I don't really want to get into relationships, because, you know, like, I'm scared of, like, spending all this time and money on someone and then they ghost me. I mean, if he's done it to you, he's probably done it to more women. But at least you now know what the red flags are, and let's hope and pray that you don't ignore them in the future.
Let me tell you about the time where I moved to the whole other side of the world for a guy that never asked me to do this, and when I did do this, he actually never met up with me when I was there.
I mean, I don't know why you do that, but to be fair, I probably would do it as well, so I can't really judge you. I mean, if you fancy someone, you'll do anything for them.
What happened is, I went to Bali on my own, met this guy. We had like a nice summer fling for like a week, spent every day together. It was really nice, and then I went back to Barcelona, he went back to California. And while we were together that week, he was all like, yeah, if we cross paths, this is no coincidence. We met for a reason and we're gonna meet each other again, blah, blah, blah.
So he's literally feeding her stuff that she wants to hear. I mean, whenever you start talking to someone or like flirting with someone, you literally think you're going to spend the rest of your life with them. It happens to me once a week. Like, I literally have a conversation with one guy and I think I'm going to marry him, and then we never speak again. It's something we can all universally relate to.
And I was like, oh, I met him, I met the one. So we both went back to each other's hometowns. We kept on texting, talking, calling, whatever. And he was like, yeah, you should come visit me in LA, blah, blah, blah. I'll show you around. So I ended up planning a trip to visit him. I go to LA for 2 weeks. I spent the first week at his house, the second week with like the girl who was my boss at the point that I was working for remotely from Barcelona. The week we spent together was amazing. We had a lot of fun. And there was this one time where we were talking about like random things in life, and he just like randomly just started saying like, oh, because I'm not looking for a relationship like right now. And you know, after my ex and I have been long distance for like 6 years because his ex was from France.
Okay, so he's slowly dropping hints that he doesn't want to be in a relationship. To me, it's quite obvious he's leading you on. Like, he knows that he doesn't want to be in a relationship, but why would you like make it out like you want to? You know, say to her straight up, I'm not looking for a relationship, but we can be friends with benefits. You know, we can be friends. Maybe in the future. She's literally flown to stay with you for a week. Like, you're just leading her on.
I am not looking for something like that again, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't say it like directly to me, but it was like, I don't want to be with you.
Yeah, so he's saying it indirectly, but also directing it towards you indirectly. But he's probably also still leading you on.
But I was in one of those mindsets of like, oh no, I can make him change his mind because I'm special, you know?
We've all been in that mindset. I've been like that with men who are not attracted to men. They literally text you and you think they like fancy you. I feel like a lot of gay people can relate to that. It's like a really cute straight boy messages you and you're thinking in the back of your head, oh my god, he defo wants me.
I go to spend the second week with my boss, work with her, end up seeing him like this one random day, and then I'm like, well, I'm going back to Barcelona. Once I'm not with him anymore, he kind of like dismisses me completely. Every time I text him, he's just like ignoring me completely, and he knows at what time and day and everything I'm flying back. He even like sees my stories on like at the airport and never says like, oh, good flight home, it was nice to have you here. Nothing, like literally nothing. But in that week with my boss, I talked to him being like, oh my god, I love LA so much, I would love to come here to work with you, because I know that was like the only chance I could like maybe move to the States, like if she offered me a job so I could be with him.
And I bet you she's going to offer you the job, and now you're not going to be able to be with him because he's going to completely cut you off. I feel like a lot of these guys do it to a lot of women. I mean, I'm very open about not wanting to be in a relationship. I'm single by choice. I'm sure I could probably find a boyfriend. I'm just like not ready. I don't need to be in a relationship. For me, it's just like a load of shit, and then whenever we watch these videos about these men and people being desperate, it really puts me off relationships.
Because he didn't want to be in a long distance relationship, so I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna leave everything behind. For a guy that I knew from like a week in Bali and a week in LA, and that was it.
Exactly, you've known him for a few weeks and you're head over heels. I mean, that's what love can do to you. If you really want to be with someone, it'll make you turn absolutely cuckoo. I think in his case, he probably doesn't want a relationship, he just wants women's bodies. Or maybe he just doesn't want to be in a relationship, maybe we're judging him.
So I continued to work with her, like, by the way, this was August when I was in LA visiting both of them. I continued to work with her, and then she was like, oh, Ada, in December we can make this happen, you can come work for me in LA, could you move? And I'm like, oh my god, yes, whatever. And in the meantime, I had like texted him a few times, and he just like either didn't respond or just responded very like, oh, I'm busy with work, blah blah blah.
Usually if someone says that, or if like they're blunt, it's probably because they don't want to talk to you, and that's the sad thing. If you don't want to be with someone like that, just be straight up and say, look, I really appreciated the time with you, however it's not going to work out. I mean, that's me with guys, you know, if I maybe flirt with a guy, I just say straight up, look, I'm not looking for a relationship or anything like that, however we can be friends, maybe in the future we could become something. Look at me acting like something straight out of a rom-com.
So I don't tell him anything. I pack my bags. I moved there in December, and the day that I actually land, I text him being like, oh, by the way, did you know that I just moved to LA? I arrived today. And his response was all like, oh, cool. But not even like why or like what are you doing? Nothing. Just like, cool. I ask him to hang out and he's like, oh, I'm busy this week, but never really says like, oh, maybe next week. No, he just says like, I'm busy.
Yeah, and that's because he doesn't want to see you. He's completely cut you off. If you find him attractive, you can always find someone who's 10 times more attractive, 10 times better personality. Just because it doesn't work out with him doesn't mean it won't work out with someone else.
Showing literally no interest. I tried 2 or 3 more times. He shows the same lack of interest, and yeah, I spent the next 3 months there and never saw him. But I met one of my best friends in LA, so there's that. I don't know if he's on TikTok, but I hope he never sees this.
I mean, he might see it, and I hope he does. And if you are that person, at the end of the day, don't lead people on. Just be straight up and tell them you don't want them for them. You only want their body. Well, guys, that's where I'm gonna leave that video there. That's some people who are very desperate. We can all relate to them. We've all been desperate for somebody. And do you want to know something? I'm not embarrassed to admit it. If you want to see me do more videos like this, let me know. I definitely will. Press the big red subscribe button, and just to see all in my next video.